I'm Jennifer Johnson, and I raise sheep for their wool.
Welcome to Whispering Pines Shetland Sheep Farm in western New York State, home to our lovely flock of soft Shetland sheep. We breed and raise our sheep to produce soft, crimpy wool for hand spinners to enjoy. Thank you for liking this video and for subscribing to our channel. We're in the thick of summer here on the farm. The heat has been sweltering, and things have slowed down a bit from the bustle of spring. I've finally had some time to focus on non-sheep projects, like tending my vegetable garden and clearing bracken from the pond, and really just enjoying time with the flock. But while summer usually means a slower rhythm, there's still major progress happening behind the scenes. Our new building project is finally picking up speed. It's all part of the plan to improve efficiency and give our farm a new welcoming face for customers. And after a long, slow start, things are really moving.
So the project actually started last fall when the guy that does our hay came over and brush hogged the entire work area. The builder asked us to do that for two reasons. One was the builder wanted to really look at the topography and see where the peaks were and stuff in the lot. And also it allowed him to stake out, exactly where we wanted to put the building in. So that was kind of the first thing that made me realize that this is really going to happen. It's the start of a commitment. So the next thing that happened was January. So through the fall, it was still just a lot of talking about it and stuff. But I went and got a building permit at the town hall, which it wasn't a ton of money. I can't remember, $250 maybe or something. And I just had to fill out a form and pretty much got the permit pretty soon after that. I did have to go in front of the town board in an evening meeting to get the special use permit, but that's just what allows you to run a business out of your home. Everybody's gone, huh? Must be too hot. So throughout the winter, we spent a lot of time as we were running errands or doing stuff, kind of going out of our way to look at buildings, look at outbuildings and stuff. There were a few that caught my eye. Some of them were based, I was interested in them because of just the way they were shaped. Others, I liked the colors that they used. And others I thought they were beautiful and inspired me to keep going with the project. So that was something that we were really, anytime we did anything, when we went to get groceries, went to a doctor's appointment, we would always kind of look, and I would take pictures. So I have a little portfolio of some of the stuff that stood out to me. So after all that time spent looking at buildings and stuff, I kind of got an idea for what I wanted. And one of the things that was kind of my guiding principle was I wanted to keep it really simple and practical. We actually didn't go too far over the top when we designed the house either, because we built, in general, contracted our own house. We didn't do the building, but I did all the contracting. So all the contractors, the vendors, and everything I sourced and worked with. So I had to keep that simple because I'd never done it before, but I really wanted to just keep this really simple. Number one, I just want to stick with our budget, which is roughly $200,000. I'm probably going to go over that because there's a couple things I've added, and I'll talk about that in a second. Worked with the builder and kind of had a conversation, and what we decided we were going to do is do a two-phase project. One would be get it to the point where I can use it for warehousing, storage, shipping and receiving. And then the second phase would be where we would build out a kitchen area, living space, class space, whatever it's going to be. So we've got two drawings. One is the main building, just the exterior walls and sort of a rough layout, windows, doors. He really liked the idea of us having a cupola, so we're going to have a cute little cupola on the top. Just stuff like that. So we went through all those elements, worked with the architect. You guys are crazy. Where are you going? Yeah, got the drawing stamped, got all that done. So that was right around February time frame. Good stuff to be working on in the winter. So like I said, we had our budget set, and then it occurred to me, I've got a little bit of accrued income from the farm business that I've, haven't invested yet, but I didn't really have anywhere near enough capital for the whole project. So I had to secure financing. Financing was a lot trickier than I thought it was going to be. I just assumed that because we had so much equity in the home that banks would be interested in us. But I learned really quickly that credit unions, which are usually the go-to for home equity loans, don't do home equity loans for business investment because it's just too risky, I guess, and they don't want to be in a position where they got to take your home if the business doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So that didn't work. Then I went to my business bank that I do my business checking with, and they struggled with, the fact that I didn't show enough income to make payments on a home equity loan, which I totally could. The only reason I didn't show it on my taxes is because I've been reinvesting, so I wouldn't have a big income. So it was rough, and I wasn't getting very far, and I was getting really discouraged. So then I talked with my niece, she works in finance, and she told me, you should try this bank, Lions National Bank. They're in Rochester, and they really like to loan to farms. They're focused on farms. So it was just like night and day when I went there. They were like, yes, fill out this form, use the stuff, got the application. I actually ended up getting a home equity line of credit instead of a home equity loan. So I'm all set with that. But it took a little bit more time than I thought. And especially with my business bank, I had to put together a business plan, the financials, a balance sheet. Kind of reminded me of my days back in the office world. So anyway, that we're all set now. We got the financing, and then ready to start paying some bills. So up until now, the project has kind of been, like spurts of work. Accomplish something, get that checked off, and then wait for the next milestone. So in May, the earth-moving equipment came onto the property, and that was exciting. It was actual evidence that things were happening. The first step was really just doing some earth moving, getting topsoil up so we can get down to a hard pack, kind of cutting out, the driveway and the building space and stuff. And that was just super exciting. And that is when we made the decision. I was not going to have a big parking lot, but based on the width of the driveway, and it kind of is cutting through some real overgrown area that I'm not planning on maintaining or keeping cut back. And we don't have a good shoulder on the road for parking. So we made a 10-car parking lot, which added quite a lot of stone to the project. When you're doing something like this, you've really got to think it through and think long term. What's going to be effective and what you're going to like. And I do want to have a point in time where I want to have people here, engaging in classes and clinics and socializing, fellowship, whatever. So we went ahead and did that, and I'm glad we did. It did add some expense, but so the earth moving, we've got 3 massive mountains of dirt right now. I think 2 of them are going to get used on the property to kind of fill in spaces for the project, and then there's another pile that we're using for little holes that we want to fill in around the property. So that was pretty exciting, and then they came out and they staked out the building. It felt really strange to look at it, because sometimes I was like, it looks really small, and other times I'm like, this is a lot of space. The other earth moving element that happened in May was the town put the culvert in, which is there's a ditch that runs along the road by our property. In the spring it's like a little creek, but normally in the summer it's pretty dry. But you do need a culvert because it'll keep the driveway from getting flooded. So the town came and put that in. So that was kind of exciting. You know, there was like construction signs on either side of my project, you know, made me feel really legit. So then in June, after we had kind of a weird, wet, cold spring, June things kind of dried up a little bit, so they were able to start bringing in the stone. And it was really noisy. It was all one day this all happened, and it was like in the morning it was just kind of like dirt and looked like it always had looked. And in the afternoon it was a lot. It had a building lot look about it, which was really exciting. 675 tons of stone. So that, it was a lot. And I think there's still some more stone that needs to come in and go down to give us that platform. The other thing that has happened since my last build video, in June, the utilities started getting active. So we now have a water tap from the city water. So the site will have water, and they're going to run it back here, whatever it is, 300 feet to the building. And the electric company has erected a new pole, and they're going to start putting service in so that we'll have electric. So this building is going to be a fully independent of the house. It's going to have its own meter, its own water. I'm going to have a septic out here. The heating system, obviously, is all separate. We actually had a meeting last week with the HVAC guy, the electric guy, and the contractor, and really hammered out a lot of details so that they can get started on, you know, digging the trenches and starting to lay out the heating and stuff. So we're going to be going with radiant heat in the floor, which is going to be really nice. And then 3, I forget what they call them, mini units or something, but they're going to be mounted fairly high up on the wall. And they'll be able to keep the climate control that we need for the spinning wheels, because that's really my priority, is those wheels have to be between, I don't know, somewhere between like 60 and 80 degrees F and a certain level of relative humidity. So we're going to make sure that that's the first thing that happens before I move in there. Once everything is done in phase 1, I am going to move all the wheels, the shipping station and everything. That's going to be a whole project so that I can free up our basement and garage, kind of get everything centrally located in this building. And then probably I'll have to start getting ready for festivals, because I've got 2 festivals in September and then Rhinebeck in October. So, So here we are in July. It's extremely hot. I feel kind of bad for these guys, but we've had a couple nicer, cool days, and it's a little bit breezy. But July, a lot has happened, and we've started to see rapid progress. We took delivery of materials early in July, which that was thrilling, just to see, you know, lumber and concrete and skids and, you know, the roller. They kind of have that parked here for when they need to bring in more stone, so it looks like a real job site. Then the next big thing they had to do was they dedicated a couple days to putting in the posts, and the posts are the vertical, larger posts that kind of start the whole framework, and that involves drilling the holes, setting the concrete base, putting the posts in, which is, I've got footage of that. I was really impressed with the teamwork there and just the precision, because the hole has to get drilled in an exactly one very exact spot. And then those posts have to be level, you know, located in the center of the hole. It was just really impressive. I'm really happy about the work they'd done. I am so thrilled. Today is the actual start of the build. So I got a call from my contractor last night that the crew was going to be here this morning, which they were. They were here at about 7:30. They're out there now. I think what they're doing is drilling the holes for the posts, so I'm going to go check it out. And I'm going to use the 4-wheeler because I have a feeling that today I'm going to be doing a lot of back and forth. And it's a beautiful day. I mean, it couldn't be more perfect. Just thrilled.
So the concrete truck came, I guess, because that's what they were waiting on.
Stone. The deep the stone is.
Mm-hmm. So tomorrow they're going to be putting the posts in. Wednesday of the week of the build. So yesterday they put the holes in and they poured concrete to create, I don't know what you call it, platform for the posts. And today they're putting in the posts. But first I have to let the sheep out. Let's go in and see if they're as excited as I am. I know. Good morning. Good morning, lovies. Hello. It's a new day. Adriana, good morning. Little dove. Hello. Little magpie. Hi, Maggie. Good morning. I think you're sparrow, but I'm not 100% sure. Hello. Hi, Mammy. You ready to go outside for a big day? Mimi. Aida. All right. All right. Making sure I do it right. There you go. Have a good day. Bye-bye. All right, I'm gonna come back and check water, make sure there's nobody laying down. I have a lot to do because I'm getting ready for the fleece auction also. Gotta come back and do water. Alright, so let's go out and check out the site. Nice day again. Cutting fine. Hey! Where are you guys? There, I see you. You okay? Hello. Okay. Look at that. What's really happening? So the groundwater is enough to set this concrete, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So cool.
How many followers you got?
3,300.
Really? That's awesome.
It's not enough.
I think that's pretty good
I want more.
for Orleans County. Is this Orleans County?
Looks really good. That's where the overhead door is. Right there. A lot of visible progress today. It's a lot bigger than I imagined.
So that was one whole day. Then once they get the poles in, they put the concrete in, put the dirt around it, and secure the posts with, oh, they took them down, really long 2x4s that would just kind of supported them until the concrete dried and they were set. So we're now at the stage of framing. There's a lot of names for all the different kinds of wood, but it's essentially getting the framework of the building, getting the skeleton, as it were, up there. And I think as of today, that is pretty much done. I can see that they have framed in the windows and the doors. We got a delivery of windows and doors. I don't think they put any in yet, no. Yesterday. So it's really, now that we're here with people on the site, it seems like it has really gained a ton of momentum, and things are starting to really come together. A couple things that are standing out to me. I love my overhang in the back facing south. I can't wait to get the soccer wall stuff out of there. Rich and I spent a day getting the planks down. We got to get the posts out and cut those trees down so you can actually have a view. I love how tall it is. We're going to have very tall ceilings throughout the whole building, and I'm really excited about that. So there's still lots to do. I'll probably do another update. I'm really excited about this. It's just like a whole, and many of you have been so supportive with your comments and feedback and stuff, but it's a whole new chapter, and I feel like as I'm getting a little more senior and have a lot more experience with the Magicraft and the sheep and everything, that this is really the natural progression for our business. So thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video. I really hope you enjoyed watching the progress, and I hope you can come back soon. If you enjoyed the video, it really helps the farm, and we're getting a lot more subscribers here in the last couple of months, so I'm pretty excited and grateful to everybody. But if you can hit the like button, subscribe, and then leave me a comment. I read every comment immediately when they come in, and I try to respond in a timely fashion, but they mean a lot to me, and your support just really keeps me going. It keeps the batteries charged. So thank you so much. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.